Here are three rookies worth reaching for in 2025 fantasy football draft. Starting out, RJ Harvey, Denver Broncos. RJ Harvey was a second round draft pick in this year's draft. And the beauty is he goes to a Denver offense that has a very good defense. They added some really high end pieces. Maybe that defense is elite. And what does Coach Sean Payton want to do? He wants to run the ball and play defense. The Broncos already have a very good offensive line. Last year, they had no running back, so they were unable to run the ball with success. This year, Harvey comes in, J.K. Dobbins comes in. That's two running backs. We don't usually like that too much. We've heard offseason reports, probably a split backfield. That is okay. Remember when Sean Payton had things going in his heyday in New Orleans? You would have two running backs who were fantasy viable, and this situation is looking like more of the same. Harvey was dynamic in college. 6.8 yards per carry, 22 touchdowns, speedy, versatile, vision, home run ability, can catch the ball. Not a great pass protector, but you know, with that offensive line, that might not be an issue. So that said, what can we expect from Harvey? Harvey is going to be in that role where he's splitting work. Yes, we get it. But J.K. Dobbins has not been durable. Dobbins has missed more time than he's been on the field during his NFL career. So Harvey starts out with a very high baseline and worth his ADP right around running back 20. But should Dobbins struggle? Should Dobbins miss time? All of a sudden, Harvey goes from being a floor play to being somebody who will completely revolutionize your fantasy football team. Next, we have Kaleb Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Johnson, very, very accomplished college running back, 6.4 yards per carry, 21 touchdowns, fast, physical. He can catch the ball. He can create big plays. Kaleb Johnson was drafted to take over the Najee Harris role in that offense. And that offense, that role was always good for over 1,000 rushing yards, a good deal of receptions with some receiving yardage. But Johnson has more oomph than Najee Harris had. And we could see Johnson taking much better advantage of those opportunities. Now, Jaylen Warren's in the backfield, and yes, a split backfield. Again, we always worry about that. But remember, Jaylen Warren in 2023 was extremely efficient. In 2024, he was not very efficient. So there is room that if Johnson is as we expect to be advertised, he can take more of the role than Najee Harris had. But even with the floor as it is still going to be stable because remember, Arthur Smith coached offenses. The offensive line may not be great, but they'll bring in 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, an extra running back. They will have blockers on the field, a very well-schemed rushing attack, and Pittsburgh has a good defense, so that means they could be playing in closer games, which allows Kaleb Johnson to be relevant for all 4 quarters. Could certainly see him in a closer role as well, because remember, Pittsburgh always wins more than half their games. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second and hit like and subscribe. It helps us keep that fantasy advice coming your way. And if you want even more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to rotowire.com, you choose that subscription, and you use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, next, Mason Taylor of the New York Jets, second round draft pick. And I know everybody's worried about the Jets offense because they have Justin Fields at quarterback, and that's not overly exciting. However, start with Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor was a pure pass-catching tight end, and he is expected to be the starting tight end for the Jets. And remember, the Jets have Garrett Wilson at receiver. After that, Josh Reynolds, Allen Lazard, bunch of others. Not really much expected there. And Justin Fields, remember, in 2023 with Chicago, he proved he can work with a top-end receiver and a tight end. Because in Chicago, Justin Fields led DJ Moore to a career-high 1,360 yards. Tight end Cole Kmet that year, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns, 90 targets. So, it's not lazy analysis. Justin Fields can work with Garrett Wilson in the same way he worked with Moore. He certainly can work with Mason Taylor the same way he worked with Cole Kmet. And if you're going to tell me, outside of the top 20 tight ends on the board, that Mason Taylor can come anywhere close to that 700-plus yard and 6 touchdown season that Kmet had, sign me up for that all day long. Again, Mason Taylor is an excellent pass catcher, and with that middle of the field needing a big force there. he is going to smash that ADP. So remember, when you're in your drafts, take a shot on RJ Harvey, reach up for Kaleb Johnson, and again, make sure you reach up for Mason Taylor of the Jets.